Good morning, everybody. This is just a quick introduction. I'm going to be making a hot process soap, and I've already made it at this point while I'm recording this and then putting it up front. Really strange thing happened today. When I make hot process soap, I have two crock pots and make two batches and combine them together. One is an old crock pot that doesn't get quite as hot as the newer crock pot, and traditionally that older crock pot does cook the soap slower because it doesn't get as hot. And oftentimes I have to switch the bases about halfway through so the one batch gets into the hotter cooking base. Well, something really weird happened this time. The older, slower cooking crock pot took off and actually volcanoed. That's one reason I say all the time, never, ever, ever leave hot process unattended, because I was standing right here and saw it happen and got the lid off, and well, you'll see. Anyway, just a quick introduction. Now let's get started making some hot process. So if I can tell you the end result looks good, I'm getting ready to cut it and I'll film that. Hi everybody, it's the Soap Man, and it's time to make some soap. So I told you when I was slowing down that I would be occasionally putting up some soap videos. If you're seeing the double crock pot, you probably know I'm making hot process, and I haven't made hot process in a long time. So I decided I would go ahead and film this one, and this is all I'm going to have for the month of February. We've had some terrible weather, which has really kept me grounded, so I have a lot of soap. So this is all I'm going to have for February. I'm also testing a new fragrance. This is Honeysuckle from Brambleberry. Now, Brambleberry says that it rices in cold process. I don't have a problem with ricing. I don't have a problem with acceleration. I have a problem with the two combined. But in hot process, that's one of the benefits. It's not an issue. So I'm going to test it in hot process, see how I like it, how the scent holds up. For the color, I'm using Pink Vibrance in one, and then I'm using just titanium dioxide white in the other, and I'll swirl those in at the end. So I know you're generally thinking probably green and yellow for honeysuckle, but I've just not had a good combination getting those to show up in my hot process. So I'm going to have a dark pink and like a nice bright white. So one of my favorite things when doing hot process is watching the micas blend in. So I'm going to put my Pink Vibrance in here. It'll take about 6 teaspoons. And then the same for my titanium dioxide. Now sometimes people like to disperse their TD in the lye water, which is fine. To me, it's a little less risky. It's just kind of too risky to stick blend scalding hot lye water, and since this is just oils, it's perfectly fine to stick blend it in. And as long as my camera keeps running, here's the fun part, watching micas disperse into oil. Once again, I haven't put the lye in this yet. This is just our oils. Let's get you a little closer. Gorgeous. Now let's get our TD mixed in, and we'll get our lye in and get started. Alright, I got my lye water set off to the side just to prevent an accidental spill. So one moment, and let's get our lye water mixed in. Now, one thing with hot process is temperatures do not matter. This is scalding hot lye water I just mixed up. These are very hot oils. It just does not matter with hot process because you're going to cook it. It's going to heat up anyway. So the hotter you start, the less time you spend having to heat it up to get the cook started. And I don't understand the chemistry or the physics behind it, but when the lye water is this hot, It will not trace. It will trace, but you won't get a thick trace. You wouldn't want to dare do this with cold processor. I wouldn't think so. But when you stick blend these scalding hot lye water and oils, it just won't come together. I mean, I'm sorry, it comes together, but it will not get a thick trace. So I like a really super thick, well blended trace before I put the lid on and start cooking. So I'm going to blend these for quite some time. So I'll go ahead and shut us down now, and I'll bring us back when we're at our first stage. So see you in a... Alright, it's been a few minutes since I've gotten everything blended, and this is our first sign that our cook is starting. You'll see it starting to bubble up on the sides. The white's doing the same, although it's doing it at a little bit slower rate because that's an older crock pot that doesn't get quite as hot. But this is the fact that it's beginning to actually separate, which is completely normal with hot process. So I'm not going to do anything at this point. I can see oil floating on top, but it's okay. It's completely normal. This will eventually cook down just a little bit, and it will get to what we call the applesauce stage, because everything really kind of separates and it has an appearance and a consistency of applesauce. So I'll bring us back when we're at that stage. We're not there yet. I'm going to go ahead and stir this, probably just to kind of distribute the heat and get the cook stirred a little faster. But this is our first stage that we're starting to cook and starting to make soap. Okay, so surprisingly, the white's cooking a little faster than the pink, but we are at applesauce stage. It looks like the consistency of applesauce. Now, it will stay at this for a while it starts to cook, and all those clumps will come back together, and then it will really take off and start to climb. Let's see, the white already is. That's kind of surprising since it's an older crock pot that doesn't get as hot. But it's already starting to climb. Now, our next stage will be when it starts to come back together and we get into the mashed potato stage, but I have to watch it like a hawk at this point because it will overflow. This crock pot's covered in soap where I wasn't paying attention and it overflowed. So I got my laptop on. I'm sitting here watching this like a hawk, so I'll be back at the next stage. Here is why you never leave hot process unattended, because I'm at mashed potato stage on this older crock pot that's cooking slower, or at a lower temperature, I should say. See, this is where it really gets active. I'm going to go ahead and unplug it and just let the residual heat continue to cook it, but I got to stay here and stir this. So never leave hot process unattended. Look at that. So look here, after our volcano on the white, this one is still just going nice and calm, cool and collective. I still see oil on top. It's still applesauce. Just taking its time, behaving beautifully, really bubbling away. And this one just went absolutely crazy, volcanoed over. Fortunately, it's just soap at that point. It's fully gelled. But I'm just going to leave it in the base to keep it warm while this finishes cooking. So I'll see you when we're at our next stage. Well, we're getting there finally, but boy, this one is taking its time, and I do not understand the physics here. This one is cooking at a hotter temperature, and it's taking way longer than the old crock pot at a slower temperature. We're still really at applesauce stage, although it's starting to come together. I am probably going to have to just go ahead and get that white into the mold before it cools down too much, and just do a double layer on these, but we'll see. Alright, this one's finally starting to move. We're at that mashed potato stage now. This is where it's nice, fluffy mashed potatoes, and it's starting to climb. Just going to stir it and whip some air in just to kind of settle that down, or whip some air out and settle that down. I've already unplugged it because it's almost cooked. The white is full gelled, and it's starting to cool down. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull this out of the crock and let it sit on the windowsill over there with the window open. Hopefully it will cool down faster than the white because it's in front of a cold window with the window open. And the white I've left in the crock, but the crock in the base with the lid on, hopefully. But now it's all nice and shiny. It'll start to calm down and settle down, and it'll be full gel. It's already getting shiny, so this is definitely cooked. So I'll be back when we're ready to get it into the mold. Alright, while I'm waiting for that pink to cool down in front of the open window, I'm going to go ahead and fragrance the white. I know I can use half of this bottle in each one of them. This is still pretty hot, but I think it's cool enough. I've left it in the crock that it's cooling down at a slower rate, and hopefully that one will cool down just enough. But this is really shiny and glossy. It is definitely soap. Hot process takes a long time to stir your fragrance in. I'm not going to do a whole batch on camera because it's going to be a long time to do this. But you have to kind of get it in gradually, and just you have to be patient. You have to stir and stir and stir. Now so far this fragrance is smelling pretty good, so I think I'm going to like it. Let's hope. And even if I don't, it doesn't mean everybody else won't. My main thing is, will it hold its scent? And if it does, I am not concerned about it ricing in cold process. I can work with ricing as long as it doesn't accelerate. So I'm just going to keep stirring this and stirring and stirring. It'll take quite a while, but anyway, I will be back when I'm ready to combine the white and the pink and get it into the mold. So I'll see you in a minute. Alright, I am finally ready. So what I usually do at this point is take about half of the white and mix it in with my accent color. And I'm just eyeballing it. It does not have to be precise by any means. And then on my accent color, I just kind of stir it, fold it. I don't really want it to blend. So I just kind of gently fold and turn to get the white mixed in and swirled. And this is ready to go into the mold. I line my mold with paper to make have a little bit more because this is a bigger batch than normal. I usually use 120 ounces of cold process oils in this mold, but my hot process has 120 ounces of oils. So let me smack this on the floor. This was a wild batch. But nobody ever said soap making is predictable and reliable all the time. Just get that in as best as I can in the corners and all laid out. And then try to flatten it and get ready for the remaining white on the top. And I'm also trying to push some air bubbles out by doing this. That's all the pink, so I will take the rest of the white and get that on top. Try to pat it down and get the air bubbles out. Now the good thing with hot process is I don't have to worry about glycerin rivers because it's been stirred the whole time. I don't have to worry about ash on the top because it's already cooked into soap. So this is technically soap, so I'll be back tomorrow to cut it, but it's done. I'm done. I got to clean up, but I'm actually going to let this completely harden and clean it up. So that's what I have right now. I will see you tomorrow for the cut. Okay, let's try this again. I'm back, and it's time to cut our soap. Had a camera issue again, but I think it's back online and working. So went ahead and sliced the sliced the loaf into bars, and inside I'm really liking it. Testing that new fragrance from Brambleberry. At this point, I don't smell anything, but that's not uncommon for fragrances, so I'm not really panicking at this point. And none of the reviews said that the fragrance faded, so let's go ahead and cut this. Let's see what we have. Yeah, that's just 100% what I expected. Now, it does sort of look like meat, I know. Even though that's pink, it's pink vibrance, it's a dark pink. Sort of looks like well-marbled meat with a big fat cap on top, but hey, it's soap. And it's free. It's being given away, so the people who will get it will really enjoy it, so that's all that matters. Let's just cut another another log into bars and see what it looks like. I think this is the center log. It should look the same. Yep, it does. Looks like it might have a little bit less white in the center, or less marbling in the meat, if you want to consider it meat. It does really look like that. But I tell you what, I love a good well-marbled steak with some fat on the edges. So if that were a steak, I'd be cooking that up and eating it right now. But anyway, I'll line these up and get a picture. One more thing before I go. Hot process does have a lot of soap that's left over in the crock pot that you just can't get out and into the mold. But is that going to go to waste? Absolutely not. Let me show you this. This is an old coconut jar. This is where I put my scraps when I make confetti soap. Now, it's not full metal compact down, but that's a lot of soap I scraped out of the crock pots. That won't go to waste. That'll be dissolved in water and used like for washing dishes or any just type of general purpose cleaning. It won't go to waste. So that's what I have for today. I'm not going to have anything the rest of the month because I've had enough soap, but I will be making more soap in March, so I'll have some videos to upload, at least at the very least some cutting videos at the end. So I will see you probably in a month. Thanks for watching, everybody.